Welcome to my greenhouse. I'm Joy from Grow Food Network. This is my first how-to video, and oddly enough, it's not about growing food. But I hope that if it goes well and you don't mind listening to me, then I can use it in the future, and I can use it for teaching techniques that I've learned about how to grow great food. But today, we'll start with one how-to video on making wreaths. I've been making wreaths for 10 or 15 years, and this is the first time I've ever made this kind of wreath, so I think it's rather bold of me to be making it on film. However, I think it's a great technique. I really am anxious to try it, give it a go, and see if it takes less time to actually make this kind of wreath. What you'll love about these is that they last for 4 months, so it'll still be hanging on the side of your wall or on the side of your door in February-March time frame, and you can redecorate it for the different season. So to begin this process, the wreath that you're looking for, it's actually more of a frame. The frame that you're looking for has 3 wires that circulate and are connected. They make like a dish so that the greens can sit inside them. So that's what you're going to look for. And if you're going to go out there and buy these, you want to buy, if you're starting out first time, a smaller one. This is probably about 12 or 14 inches, and you can get them in about 10. So it's faster, takes less material, and you have a greater success when things go quickly and easily. So to begin this process, I make a hanger for it to hang on. You can do lots of things with wreaths. You don't have to just put them on your door. I've made them so that I put them in a dish and with a candle on the inside, and then you have this incredible centerpiece. Or I've made them where I covered both sides and would hang it with ribbons from 4 sides, and then it would hang in a place with perhaps candles as well, which is used a traditional wreath. There are lots of things you can do with wreaths. I've even covered them with moss, and that looks stunning too. So in order to, if I am going to hang this wreath, I do need a hanger. So with any wire, you can make a hanger, or twist ties work well too. So just cutting it off, I'm going to double it up to give it some extra strength. Twisting it actually helps to strengthen it as well, and then I'm going to attach it onto the frame. So simply twisting and securing the hanger. I like to do this early so that I'm not trying to do it later on when it becomes more difficult. So that will hold the weight of this. These do become quite heavy, by the way. So there we have. Now the next step is taking a regular green garbage bag and making strips out of the green garbage bag. I want them to be about 4 inches wide. So the first one, because it's folded over to make the bag, I just need to make it about 2–2.5 inches. And you can simply just glide your scissors up. Simply, I say. Cutting off the end because it's going to be, it is a bag, so it's connected at the end. The nice thing about doing this kind of project outside is that when you're doing your cuttings, you can just let things fall onto the soil. So there, I have a strip. I take the strips, and I'm going to attach it where I began my hanger. So simply tying a double knot, and that is attached now to the frame. I'm going to wrap. This process is what we do, is we wrap this strip around the hanger, and this creates folds or pockets. I come to the end and I grab another strip. Now I've already cut these in advance so that I can make this quick. I want to try and keep your attention, not bore you. So I'm going to try and make this as quick as possible. And you get to hear the planes overhead, and perhaps even the rain, because it is raining today. It's December on the wet west coast and it rains often. So I'm continuing to wrap in the same direction. And then, because this is a demonstration video, I'm going to tie it off. But what you would do is just continue to wrap the wreath until you get to the other end where the hanger is. And you go all the way around. And when you get there, just do what I'm doing now and make another double knot. Securing it in place. There. So, I want the wreath to be with the angle going down, like the dish of it, or the shelf, to be down on the table. Because we're going to stuff each one of these little pockets with greens. So if you haven't already walked through your yard and picked some of your greens, that's what you get to do now. So take your pruners and go for a walk. Otherwise, I'm going to assume that you have some prunings and cuttings that you've taken from your yard. So this one here, what I normally go is I want to create bundles. These kind of little bundles. I want them to be all approximately the same size so that the wreath has consistency in it. I usually use my hand as a guide, and I want about 6 or 8 inches for each bundle for lengthwise. So I'll take it off here. Now this is fairly big bundle, so I'll take off that one, and then perhaps that one too, and then I have one bundle. Now, from here I take and I grab some moss that I've collected from the grass. The benefit of living on the west coast is we have lots of moss. I wrap it around the base of it, take an elastic, and secure the moss onto my cutting. That becomes a bundle. Now that's a fairly good sized one, so that only needs one. The next one I made would probably need 2 or 3. So again, I'm looking for about the same size. Sometimes it'll be a bit shorter than my hand, but that's okay. Taking a little moss, again, wrapping it around the base, securing with an elastic, and plunking it into some water. It's going to absorb, the moss will absorb the water and then make the wreath last for the months that it does. It's great if you can find holly, because it's perfect for this time of year and it has the red berries. What you'll find though with holly, it often has berries halfway down the center of the branch. So if you go in and you just make a cutting on an angle, then it looks like they're on the top. And you can use that. It's easier if you just cut off the leaves on holly, because they can be quite harmful and make cuttings on your fingers instead of on the branch. So again, wrapping with moss and placing it into the water. So now that I would continue to go until this tray was full of branches, so that all I can do is just stuff when I'm ready to do that. But I want to move on, and I want to make this kind of quick for you. So, taking the branches at this point, I'm going to go to the beginning of the wreath, or where I began to attach the plastic bag, and find my first pocket. You can see that they all run in one direction. You will notice that. So I'm going to take my branch, or my bundle, and I'm going to poke it into the pocket. Now I notice that this one here can use 2. So you just basically bring it in. Placing it in. And then another one. I usually have one type of plant that I have more of, and I use that as my base. Now this point is really subjective, and you can do whatever you want to do. You don't have to fill up every pocket, because what you'll find is you want there to be an overlay of the plants. So as long as you're covering up branches and covering up the material or the plastic. And if you find that some of your bundles ended up being bigger, you can just poke those in a little further down and come back and then fill it up. So that's what I'm going to do here. Now at this point too, because I do have some branches in there, I'm going to take a different variety, a different texture too, and then poke that in as well. Now I've taken this wreath apart, this little one here, apart a couple of times already, so I know that it's easy to begin one idea, and then if you think you want to try and trade it up or try to do it differently, you can just pull them all back out again and replace them in. Eventually this wreath will become very full and quite heavy, so I would suggest that you hang it up on a post for a while before you hang it on your door, just so that all the water can drip out. So I'm just going to put another one in, give you an idea of what the look that we're going for, and then I'm going to turn the video off and finish the wreath. So there you go. My hanger is still here. Oops. I tried to poke it in. There we go. So there's my hanger, and there's the beginning of a wreath. So you can see I have a little bit of different texture happening, and as I work around the wreath, I will change it up. So that's the first part of the video. Welcome back. I'm Joy with Grow Food Network, and today we're making a wreath, and we're just finishing it up. So I just spent the last hour completing the wreath, and a couple of things that I noticed is that while you're wrapping the plastic around the frame, be sure that you give yourself about an inch of an overlap so that you have more options for when you're stuffing the pockets with the greenery. And the other thing is as you're walking, some of the plants will set their flowers, their flower buds in the fall, such as the camellia. So if you're cutting camellia and you see buds, you'll know that you're going to be cutting your flowers off for next year's season, and you won't be able to see how pretty they are. Now, here is the end result of the wreath. As it turned out, quite pretty. I'm quite happy with it. And if you would like to embellish it, not that it really requires embellishing, the greenery is pretty enough, here are some suggestions I thought I would offer. This is a signature of mine. It's a little fence that I often make and put behind on my wreath, so you can see like a little fence line. I've had little characters on the fence and different things attached to the fence too, which is kind of fun. Of course, there's always the traditional red bow, which this one is already made, makes it much easier for applying. And they're all done with wire. I've walked around the yard and found lots of pine cones in different sizes and shapes, and they're always nice to add. If you want to secure wire onto the pine cones to attach them, which is the easiest I think, bring them into the house and let them open up. And then when they have the spacings in between on the bottom, you stick the wire around the bottom, and then you can attach them with wire easily throughout the wreath. One of my favorites too is to add a little bird nest and a little bird. So there are just some of the ideas that I have used in the past. Bulbs work very nice too, bright red bulbs or silver ones or gold. And then if you're hanging it on the door, bells are nice because then you have the sound happening every time the door opens and closes. It's nice if you put them into 3s or 5s and then place them and wire them onto the wreath. So that's about it for wreath making. I would love to have your feedback on this video to encourage me or tell me that it's not necessary to do my next video, which of course would be more focused around growing food. And if you want to check us out, we're at Grow Food Network, where we offer organic gardening classes and we publish an online magazine every month. So thanks for being with me, and have a great Christmas and happy wreath making.